if I would have waited, because he did fall to me. And Trevor ended up going up into the fourth round. But as I'm looking at this, he ended up going Sam Laporta. That is who I was going to end up going with. I was about to say that is a great selection, but no, that is a bad selection by him. No, it's a phenomenal selection because you see what he's doing, man. He is building his team from his tight end position. And with this being a start 10, it's a start 10 super flex with 3 flex positions. What's going on, everybody? What's going on? Welcome to the Cerberus Gridiron Podcast. I am your host, Christian _CFS, and we got a great show for you today. Yes, as you can see, the co-host, Mr. K Camp, is not here today. He is still enjoying his nice vacation. But without further ado, and he is not currently here, you know what we got to do. We get straight into it. So we was in the chat group, and a lot of people was asking certain questions. So one individual asked if you had to have a survival rating between 1 to 10, and you, based on your survival, was based on your quarterback. So your starting quarterback, prime example, if your starting quarterback is, let's just say, and this is for 2026 season, let's say I'm a diehard Patriots fan, which I am totally not, but my starting quarterback would be Drake May. What is my level of survival based off the way he plays this year? Would it be a 10 for 10 where I know I'm going to survive? Or would it be, hey man, let's just go and chalk it up. My team is not surviving this year, and we just go down up in the dumps. Let us know down up in the comments what you would end up doing. How good would your team be? Like, what's your survival rate? Do you give yourself 8 out of 9, or like a 3 out of 4? Or I'm not even going to do it. I'm just going to go into battle and just keep it moving. So that was a question that was brought up in like one of our group chats. So wanted to bring it out to the pod to see what you guys thought about it. Leave us down up in the comments down there, and we're just going to get straight into it. This is a glorious Monday that we had right now, man. Had a great weekend. Hopefully y'all had a great weekend as well. And I got to give it out to, it was Father's Day weekend. So I'm hoping all the good fathers out there, y'all had a great weekend. Hopefully the family spoiled you. And yeah, man, I hope you enjoyed your weekend. But no further ado, we're going to get straight into it. You already know what time it is. It is time to get into Mock Draft Monday. Mock Draft Monday. We have it going on right here. We've done it 3 weeks in a row. As you can tell, we do have a couple people joining us again this evening. We have Ronnie. He was here about 2 weeks ago. Then we also got a newcomer, Champ Bay 12 or 12 Champ Bay. I'm pretty sure he was a Bucks fan or something like that. So we would like to thank them for actually joining today. And to give a perspective of what this is a start 10 super flex with 3 flex positions and 5 bench spots. So 3 flex positions, super flex. And we're just trying to give a different perspective. I will be drafted from the 1.06. My strategy is, my goal is isn't to build an actual the oldest contender. I'm trying to build the youngest roster possible, but I'm also trying to be competitive in a win now mode strategy. So when we kick this off, we're going to go through the draft. I'm going to talk about how I'm building my team, and we're going to continue to build from there. Some of the things that I'm going to try to think about whenever I am drafting from the 1.06 point is an elite young QB and an elite young wide receiver and a few cornerstone assets that I could build around them. The one thing that I want y'all to think about as you're going through the draft is, am I drafting the best player, or am or am I drafting the best draft asset to actually help build my team? That's the one thing that we want to think about as we're continuing to build through this draft. And let's kick it off right now, man, for Mock Draft Monday. So we're getting into it. So we do have two people that are on. I am hoping that they're going to end up joining. As of right now, they're not green, but we're going to text them to let them know, like, hey, the draft has started, and just let them know, like, hey, it's time to get into it. But the one thing that I'm looking at, as you can tell, this is Superflex, and they definitely started off like that as well. I'm going Drake May at number 1. What are your thoughts about that? With the 1.01 in Superflex, if you did not trade back, that's what I want to know. Like, if you did not trade back and you had the 1.01 and you had to draft from those spots, would you have drafted Drake May, or would you have gone Josh Allen? We all know and then understand that building through the draft and drafting young quarterbacks always don't win you a championship, but just like to get different people's perspective whenever they're actually looking at the draft when it's coming down. So we're going to send them a message. And if he doesn't pick up and then does start, hopefully he comes back in. Hopefully the computer's going to draft pretty much well for him. If not, we're going to be in there like swimwear. And who you think is going to actually get selected, man? I think there's a lot of potential out there. The one thing that I will say is that we do have the third round reversal in this draft. And what that is doing for you is that, as you can see, so it's just like an ordinary snake draft that's going through, and then at the 1.12 and then the 2.1, when it gets to the 212, instead of going to the 212 and then the 3.01 as 1.01, then that is when the individual will end up changing and then actually go back to 1.12. So hopefully I explained that correctly, and then hopefully you understand what I'm trying to do. And now that I am on the clock, the one thing I would say, Ronnie did not join, but he did get a great asset in Bijan Robinson. I do like how he's starting off his draft. Understanding like the value out there, like the next best player available. So now this is another stance for me to figure out, like, what do I want to do? Like, how am I trying to build my team? I've already said at the very beginning of the draft that I will be drafting young and a win now mode. So with me thinking about that now and thinking about the future, so the one thing that I know is that we do not have any young prospects for quarterback that are up and coming. I love how Jayden Daniels is, even though he did end up getting hurt last year. I'm praying that he's going to have a great bounce back season. There are some other young prospects that you can end up going after, but I got Jamar Chase, Jackson Smith and Jigba, and then Jayden Daniels, then Amon-Ra St. Brown. So when I'm thinking about this, I am only 34 seconds left on the clock. Just thinking the best player available in my eyes, looking off that teardrop when it comes to a younger quarterback. I'm going to go with Mr. Jayden Daniels right here. I do know that Jamar Chase is still there. I do believe that I can get another asset later on down the road, and I'm picking from the middle. So I wanted y'all to get that perspective where people draft from 1.06 and they don't like draft from there. So as you can tell, if I physically would have let them go, then I would have never had anybody. So you see how Team 7 ended up going Jamar Chase and ended up going Ashton Genty, which is not a bad pairing. Looking at and thinking about, since I'm back on the clock, which route should I go? I do see two individual assets in there. That is, Sorry about that. People are trying to get into the draft right now, and we got to tell them no go this time. That's why when we say we are starting at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, that's when we're going to start. So tune in next week if you want to be up on the draft. We'll push it out there up on social media so you can end up joining. If you would like to, just go and join the Discord down below, and we're going to get back into it, even though I only got a minute left. So, as I'm thinking about this pick, I love how Jayden Daniels is and what he's going to do. So the assets that we got available here, we got Omarion Hampton, which I am high on this year. I think he's going to do a great job. Jeremiah Love, which is also a great prospect. I believe he is going to fill a role that Arizona hasn't had in a very long time. And then you also got CeeDee Lamb right there as well. So as I'm thinking about this, I'm still thinking about Young. Thinking about the future, I do like what Los Angeles is doing, and I'm going to get one of my stud running backs who I think is going to be good this year as well. So we got Omarion Hampton. We got people asking, can they join the next time? So seeing what was taken right there. So this is another reason when you're looking at the Superflex, you see where Trevor Lawrence is. A lot of people are very high on what Trevor Lawrence can do this year. I think he's going to be great, especially with actually having the same OC for back-to-back years. And people actually saw that he started progressing very well last year. A lot of people thinking that he's still going to be able to use his legs. That's the one X factor about Trevor Lawrence, is that he does have some speed, but he doesn't show it that often, which is very good for him as a quarterback, and he just gets out whenever he needs to. So as I'm thinking about this, as you can see, is if we did not draft a quarterback, we could have had Trevor Lawrence right here up in the third round, which I think that is some good value there. And then you could build from there. Instead of us having Jayden Daniels, we could have either went, most likely based off looking at the players that were available, me personally, you could have either went Jamar Chase or Amarion St. Brown. Those are the two individuals that I would have went with. Not thinking, is Jackson Smith and Jigba good? Yes, I think he is a great talent. But thinking about what I'm trying to do for the future and the win now mode, I would have went with probably Amarion St. Brown, and that would have been my pick at 1.06 if I did not go quarterback. But since I did go quarterback, I do have some good things that are available. I do like my young and studs. So I'm going to go with Mr. Emeka Egbuka. I really think he's going to be very good this year. I think he's going to take that next step up. We all saw how good he can be last year whenever Mike Evans did not play for a certain amount of games. And you could see how Emeka just physically came out there and then just took the actual bull by the horns and just solidified himself as like, yes, I am the number one in this offense this year until Mike Evans gets back. But then he kind of lost his footing. Whenever Mike Evans did come back, he kind of disappeared a little bit. So that's the one thing that I want to see. Is he going to be able to take that next step forward? Yes, this is his second year. We know what they say about the regression after year one for the rookies, but I think he's going to take it to that next level. They're going to give him the opportunity just to be him. So we're going to continue to build, and let's see what is going to happen. Let's look at how 12 Tampa Bay is building this team. Jahmyr Gibbs at 1.04. I think that is a phenomenal pick. Then was able to come back and get CeeDee Lamb and then Breece Hall. I think that's a great starting point. What are y'all thoughts about how he's building his team right now? I love how he ended up going Tyler Warren right here. I definitely would have went after him if I could have, but I wasn't able to. So I'm in a predicament right now. I want to make sure I get my tight end, but I also see that there is great value out there. Yes, a lot of people out there, you're seeing CeeDee Lamb. For all the veterans out there that are seeing not CeeDee Lamb, but Christian McCaffrey right there. Yes, you see him, but what we have seen from Christian McCaffrey is that every other year he ends up getting injured. And to play into that narrative, he did phenomenal last year. If you had him on your team, most likely you probably won your fantasy championship. With this year coming up, and like what we're trying to do, the win now mode, the one thing I'm looking at is what's going to help me out now, and also stay young. I do like how Harold Fannin is still there. I think that is high for him to go early in this round. But then I'm also thinking about the future as well. I do like Ladd, and do I get a double dose of Omar Hampton and Ladd? Can Ladd take that next step this year? I think he can, and I think he will. So with that being said, I am going with Ladd McConkey here in the 4th round to solidify this team as it's young and is ready to still compete now. So I will tell you this right now. Some of the players that I'm looking at right now is, Luther Burton went off the board. I do like Luther. I think that is a great pickup right there, because a lot of people are saying that it's going to be Roma Duze, it's going to be Luther Burton. As the more you continue to see mock drafts, they are all being drafted roughly in the same ranking order. I didn't get to see. Let me see if we can go back to show everybody that was drafted here on Sleeper. Maybe they're going to let us see that. And the only reason why I'm doing this is we want to show y'all like the difference between like the rankings and how everybody has them. So if you look at Raji Rice, so right there at 54 and 55, you have Roma Duze and Luther Burton. And what that tells me right now is that they do not know what's going to happen there. They're not even thinking about it. They just think it's going to be a coin flip. And then also, people out there, let me know down in the comments, do you think there is still a Madden curse? And if there is a Madden curse, and with Caleb Williams being on the front of Madden, how is that going to help his team? Is this a bad year to actually pick up a Luther Burton or a Roma Duze, even though they did ship off DJ Moore? Let us know down up in the comments. Let us know what your thoughts are about that Madden curse and if it's real. And if it isn't, and you don't have the opportunity, what's going to happen? So the one thing that I want to let y'all look at this right now, I might take a pivot right here. I love Quinshon Judkins. I love what they did. But we also got AJ Brown. I think he's going to be phenomenal this year. But we also need that veteran presence when I'm on the team. So looking at what we have available, I'm going to go with, let's go with Quinshon Judkins. I'm going with Quinshon. I do like him as a running back. And with the clock going down, I just went with running back because I'm looking at what's available down the road. And some of the running backs I don't like. I can always get other wide receivers because they're going to be available. But then that won't be the same for wide receivers. So the one thing that I'm looking at, I'm liking how Tampa Bay is building his team. He ended up going with Jared Goff because, like what I said, certain quarterbacks you can get in the later rounds. Like I could have got Trevor Lawrence if I would have waited because he did fall to me. And Trevor ended up going up into the 4th round. But as I'm looking at this, he ended up going Sam Laporta. That is who I was going to end up going with. I was about to say that is a great selection, but no, that is a bad selection by him. No, it's a phenomenal selection because you see what he's doing, man. He is building his team from his tight end position. And with this being a start 10, it's a start 10 super flex with 3 flex positions. And it's a tight end premium too as well. So with it being a tight end premium, you see all the tight ends that are going early. So that's going to make you think about what you should do. So as we're looking at this, looking at the teams, looking at what's available, the one thing that I'm going to do here is this guy's not a young prospect, but I believe that he has the opportunity to be good this year. And I look at this as like a veteran presence. I like Javonte Williams this year when it comes to running back for the Cowboys. They did end up paying him. And right now, there is no running back that's going to compete with him in Dallas. So I know that is a good RB1 to especially get in the 6th round. If you are not feeling getting Javonte Williams here at 1.06. There's some other players that you could end up going for as well. Devonta Smith, the new number one when it comes to Philly. Not a bad pickup right there as well. You also got Travis Etienne. It's in a new home, especially in New Orleans, where I think it's going to be good. And I do like this Jayden Waddle pick. I like Jayden Waddle. So as we're looking at this, I'm going to go with Javonte Williams just so I can solidify my running backs because we know running backs are scarce and I can always get wide receivers. So we're going to see what's going to happen. Will Devonta Smith fall back to me? I doubt it. But if he does, then that's going to be great. If not, it is what it is. And we're just going to keep it moving. So right now, we are playing up in the weeds right now when it comes to tight end. There is no young tight ends that are out here right now. So I'm pretty much punting the tight end range right now. Some of the tight ends that I'm thinking about, I'm trying to see if I can find them here. We're actually going to click on it, and I'm going to give you all my perspective. Some of the later tight ends that I will be trying to get is Mr. Isaiah Likely. I do think that he's going to be able to have his opportunity when it comes to being in New York. The sky's the limit for him since it will only be him there. You also got Jake Ferguson there as well from Dallas, which has done phenomenal with Dak. I do like Dalton Kincaid as well for Buffalo. So you still have some decent options there when it comes to looking at your team. So as I continue to look at this and I continue to think about the mindset of building a win now mode right now, but then also having the strength to continue to build, Derrick Henry is a great option, especially for if you are getting Derrick Henry in the 7th round. I think that is great for a Superflex league. But also thinking about futuristic as well. I'm looking at the quarterbacks positions for here. Like, let's look them out. Like, you got CJ Stroud, which is there. People think he's going to take a step back this year, and there's really not much left after that. So you got Matthew Stafford. So one thing that is going to make you push to is I'm going to actually go for do a curveball. I'm actually going to go for CJ Stroud here. And then just so I can have my second quarterback, because there's other quarterbacks up there right now that I do not trust. And, you know, when it comes to Superflex, you want to have at least 3 quarterbacks that you can start on a regular. The one thing that is good is that for 12 Tampa Bay, I do like his Jayden Waddle pick. Love that a lot. That is technically who I was going to end up going with if I did not select CJ Stroud, which I probably could have got CJ Stroud up on the turn. But you never know when it comes to Superflex. As you can see, all the quarterbacks are starting to build up. But as we continue to sit here, and just to see how everything continues to grow and how we continue to build this team, some of the players that I'm looking at that is left over at 8.6. Let's look at how the team is looking right now. We got Jayden Daniels, we got Armarian Hampton, we got Quinshon Judkins, we got Emeka Egbuka, we got McConkey, we got Javonte Williams, and we got CJ Stroud. So I'm liking how the team is actually being built right now. We're going to continue to think about that mindset and see what is available out there right now. So I'm sitting here. That's why I said I could have probably went with Jaylen Waddle and then came back around. So just trying to make sure I'm going to get my guy. I'm seeing a lot of tight ends have already been taken, so I don't think another tight end is going to be taken. So unless Team 8's going to get one. So that's what I'm looking at as we're building this. Thinking about, I do like Michael Wilson. I do think he's going to be able to do something this year. I will say that I do believe Bryce Young is going to take that next step this year. But with me looking at what's available right now, I'm going to go with Dalton Kincaid just so I have a tight end, even though I know I can get like a Jake Ferguson later on. As you can see, like Kenyon Sadiq end up going off. So Kyler Murray and Sam Darnold. So Team 9 ended up getting Jake Ferguson, which is a great move. That's who I was going to end up trying to go back-to-back, but that did not work. So since we are looking at that, trying to fill it out and build the team, the one thing that we did see is that who else is still available? I do love how Terry McLaurin, Jake Ferguson. So the one thing that you did realize is that in Chicago that they did not draft a running back. So which said that DeAndre Swift is actually did pretty decent for herself. So love that about DeAndre Swift. Could end up being a nice sleeper for you guys that are in auction leagues or anything like that. But as we continue to sit here, the one thing that I'm looking at, what's available, what's going to help us out, what's going to help us win right now. And y'all let us know, like, let me know down in the comments if I ended up messing up a move where I should have took this person here and we could have swapped it. So, like, instead of me taking CJ Stroud here, who could have I gotten? Could I have went with Devonta Smith? Could I went with somebody else? Let me know down up in the comments who you might have went with. So actually, it would have been a backcourse. So I probably went with Jalen Waddle. That's probably who I would end up going with. It would have been great. But since I did not, now I'm on the clock, and it's the one thing that I've been taking this person later on in the drafts because I love the selection. I love what he's going to do. I've been taking David Montgomery here. They ended up trading for him, coming from Detroit. And I think that's just a great move to have a veteran. So our running back room is Omarion Hampton, Quinshon Judkins, Javonte Williams, and David Montgomery. And we also have Jayden Daniels and CJ Stroud as our quarterbacks, and then Dalton Kincaid as our tight end. Could we have got a better tight end? Yes, we probably could have. But now I am looking for upside. The one thing that I will say is if this guy is available here in the 10th round, I will be drafting myself some Mike Evans this year. And the reason why I will be drafting Mike Evans this year, yes, he is in a new team jersey. Will he be that 1,000 per 1,000 again? And I got to say it right there. Tampa Bay ended up getting another great selection right there with Matthew Stafford. And we're already seeing right now what's happened in LA. They are going all in to get Matthew Stafford another ring. And when you see that, that gives you that one confidence, but you also have to be remembering if Matthew Stafford's going to be gone next year, what are you going to do just to be able to get your next up and coming quarterback? So like what I said, love what Tampa Bay is doing right now. I kind of wish Ronnie was still here to see his philosophy about how he would select his team, but his team is on auto right now. Maybe he got caught up being a little busy because he wasn't here at one point. But as I'm looking at this, I'm trying to see and understand how my team philosophy is being built. Y'all see the starters. You see my starting lineup right over here. And then going down, you got Chuba Hubbard, which is pretty decent with the Carolina Panthers, but I think he's going to be sharing his role this year with So team one ended up taking Mike Evans, which was great. I think that's phenomenal. I think he's going to be a ball hawk. That's who I was going to end up going with, but since Mike Evans is not there, the one thing that I'm thinking about is what's going to get me to that next level. I did say I could punt on wide receiver. So since I'm punting on wide receiver, now it's my time to get back into that. I ended up punting how many rounds? 5 rounds without taking a wide receivers because I did say I could get some later around in the rounds. So one of the guys that I say this is not my young stud, but I do think that Courtland Sutton still has it, and I still think he can get it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to play devil's advocate right here. I'm going to try to get Courtland Sutton at this position, and I'm going to hope and pray that I'll be able to get Isaiah Likely up on the back, coming back around. If I cannot get Isaiah Likely, then I'm going Rico Dowdle at running back. But as you can see, you can look at my roster. You can see how my team's been built. I'm going to take Courtland Sutton right now. Let me know what are y'all thoughts about Christian Watkins in Green Bay and then Matthew Golden. Which one is going to step up this year? Which one's going to take that next next step? And for me to be said, as you can tell, was not able to get Rico Dowdle or Isaiah Likely. So I think the computers are actually listening to our conversation right now, trying to figure out what they are doing. But come on now, like, what is going on? I can't believe that they end up taking the two players that I said who I wanted. But it is okay. We're not going to worry about that. We're going to keep moving forward and continue to build this team. So, with that being said, as we're building the team right now, this area, I'm thinking about the future. I'm thinking about my future tight end position. Dalton Kincaid is a great. Dalton Kincaid is a great tight end right now for an option, but I'm thinking about the future whenever I said coming in. So I want to think about Eli Stowers. We know that Dallas Goedert is on a 1-year deal this year, and then after that, Mr. Eli Stowers is going to come in. I think that is a great prospect for Philly when he was selected there. So I'm going to take Eli right now, building for the future, but also thinking about present day as well. And we're going to do it. We're going to kick it off. We're going to see if I don't get sniped again. Another prospect that I am looking at is that I'm thinking about Mr. Jalen Croker here. Thinking about Jalen Croker coming back to me. Thinking about taking him at 12.06. Trying to continue to build the team that I think is going to be it's going to take that next step. As you can see in the news, and he is still there, which is great for us. As you can see up in the news, Jalen Croker ended up getting paid, getting that extension, that $35 million extension, which shows you that Carolina trusted him, that they believe that what he did in the playoffs was not a fluke, and that he would be able to take that next step forward. And what he said in his presser is that, yes, he ended up getting his extension, but that does not define him. And you've got to love players that actually say that in everything that they do. So I'm gonna go with Jalen Croker here. I did end up seeing a running back that I love, Mr. Bill Crosby, right there for the. Oh, all right, man. I don't know what it is with that on Team 12 right now but Team 12 keeps sniping every bit of the players that I want. Like every single one of them, man. I'm just trying to figure out like what is going on. Like what is the beef with that on Team 12? Is it because they didn't? Oh, that's the reason why. They didn't select. They did went all wide receivers. So now I understand why they're continuing to go running backs. But so as we're talking about the teams and figuring out how we're going to build everything, let's look at it. Let's look at what's the opportunity right now. Did we jump too high on Eli Stowers? I think we did a great move. I know y'all probably going to hate this when it comes in the breakdown, but the one player that I'm looking at this year he's still available. I know this guy only might be on my team for Dynasty for at least another 1 or 2 years, but I'm still up in that win now mode, but I'm also trying to stay young and have valuable assets. So I got a valuable asset in Eli Stowers. I got that next veteran in Dalton Kincaid, but I'm going to get another veteran in this position, and I'm going to go with Mr. Mark Andrews. I'm going to go with Mark Andrews in this position right here. I think he's going to be great for us and for the team. As you can tell, 2 tight ends went back to back, which is telling me right there that if this was not all computer driven, that Team 5 was going to take probably Mark Andrews if I did not select him. You see 12 Tampa Bay went Denzel Boston, Isaiah Tesla. There's a lot of news out there on Isaiah Tesla and like what he's going to do. And yes, we only have 2 more rounds left because we did not, but we're also showing you guys what's going to happen out there. What's going to happen up in the later rounds, seeing how the team is built. You're seeing your bench spots are playing. Like this bench team can be flipped around. You could pick any other player that's out there on the board right now. I will say this is a lot of, hey man, if they're going to leave them out there, you just might as well go on and take them. So could you end up getting Mr. Bryce Young if you want to have that third quarterback, which, as you can tell, everybody still has two quarterbacks. The one thing that I will say is that people would have already drafted another quarterback up here in some of these rounds, and all that's going to be is like the waterfall effect. If you don't know what the waterfall effect is, when more than one in that same position ends up getting selected, and they continue to keep going and keep doing the waterfall. So it keeps going. It'll be like another quarterback, then another quarterback run, and then it's just a run on quarterback. So I call it the actual waterfall effect. A lot of people call it like a quarterback run, but that is just me in general. So as I continue to look at this, I still have a minute left. I'm looking at seeing what Tampa Bay is doing. It looks like he is trying to fill his running back room. So when I'm looking at that, I'm trying to see what I need help in. I would say probably wide receiver, but I think my team is actually very balanced. Very balanced. It's not one-sided or anything like that. From these guys that are in these later rounds, I'm throwing darts at them. Typically, you would not draft players of the same position, but there is a lot of news with Chris Braswell for the Panthers this year. There's a lot of news talking about how he's going to be able to take the top off the defense and be that go in that vertical threat. Saying that third wide receiver is open. Would you normally take him? But no. So I'm going to take him here and be able to draft him and place him on my taxi squad down below. Also thinking about other assets that is available, just seeing what other people are picking. Yes, we know when it comes to a Superflex league that is, and we already know there are a lot of teams out there that does Superflex with like 15 bench spots. And then you're pretty much drafting everybody. Like you're having your backups of the backups of the backups. And you're continuing to build that team and build that nucleus. So since we are looking at that, I'm going to look in the running back room and then the wide receiver room to see what is out there. What is my last and next selection going to end up being? Or do we just throw some darts at some guys? I do like Antonio Williams is still here. I probably will end up picking him up as my last pick. I'm high on him. I think he's going to do great this year if he gets the opportunity. Jalen Noel is as well. Continue seeing what's down here. So you already know what we said, what we're doing. We're going to go with Antonio Williams as the last pick. And we're just going to see like what he ended up doing. So as you can tell what ended up happening, you have to thank 12 Tampa Bay for actually joining the draft. We can see how it ended up looking. I think the teams ended up looking good. Tell me your thoughts. I ended up going, well, I'll show you my starting lineup. So my starting lineup is Mr. Jayden Daniels. I'm going to take a screenshot of this just so we can post it out there, just so people are able to see, tell me their thoughts. And then based off the selection, going from there, picking from the 1.06 mark, but then also looking at the bench as well. So we're going to take another screenshot of the bench team to see if we ended up grabbing value in the later rounds. And we're going to see, maybe we might do another mock draft also as well, because we did have some people said so what I'm doing right now is I'm letting the people know down up into the chat. We're going to do another mock draft. And I ended up taking a picture of the team, like the team that I drafted at the 1.06 mark. But yeah, man, let me know, like, what are your thoughts about how I ended up running this draft? Do you like it? Are we going to get another one in? That's the thing. And if we do, I'm changing the clock. So then it's going to put that pressure on you. We know that there are a lot of drafts out there that are not 2 minutes long, but this is going to be like a rapid fire draft, trying to see what people are going to do, if people are going to join. If we'll just cut it off from here and we'll just go on to the next one. Hold on real quick. But yeah, so we like how the draft went. We're to we're gonna clear it. Let's see if we can clear the draft, do a start over. Um, let's see, what's this one? So that's the full draft right there. We can look at it again to show people how it's drafted. And then we're gonna give people that spotlight. We're gonna let them know this was a co-host team right here, and then for the people that join, we're going to show their team as well. We can't show Ronnie's team because Ronnie was not here in the draft, but the team that we will show is Tampa Bay. I do like how he started off his draft. I think his team was phenomenal. Um, I think we're just going to continue to build from there. There's no other place but up. Um, but when I'm looking at my team and I'm given a perspective, I have Jayden Daniels as my ace of my team. If for all my people that play spades out there, I call him my joker. He is going to be my joker. He's going to be the one who's going to have to collect all my books for me. He's going to be my spade. Because I'm going to need him to step up, even though he did get a little bit hurt last year. And yes, Washington did not help him this year in the draft. But then I came back with CJ Stroud. CJ Stroud did show some progress. I think he'll be able to take it to that next level this year. And both of my quarterbacks are actually under 25, I believe. And with them being under 25, I think that is a great position for us, especially a start now, like I try to build young and then also win now as well. Let me pull this mic back again. I don't know if I was talking into the mic. If I did not, I am sorry. But then let's go to my running backs room. I started off with Mr. Omarion Hampton at the second round selection. Then ended up bringing back Mr. Quinshon Judkins, and then you got Mr. Javonte Williams. So thinking about this selection, could I have done something different? Yes, no, maybe. Maybe I could have went JT. Maybe I could have went Jeremiah Love, which I think is going to be a great selection. But at that moment and at that time, I felt like that was the best player available to me. Do I believe that he would have been there at my selection? Probably not. Probably not. No effects. I'm not high on Devon A-Chain, mostly because of he is injury prone a little bit. And then that's like me calling like the actual kettle black, which Amarian Hampton is injured. He had like ankle injury. But I'm gonna try to speak stuff into existence. I'm hoping that is not going to happen again this year. So we're gonna continue to see that and build through that. So that is my running back room. I also ended up picking up David Montgomery as like my four-headed monster type of guy. So based off looking at my running backs, I have two younger guys, two younger individuals. I have Javonte Williams. He's that vet. He's on his last hurrah, and then also David Montgomery. So could I went with another running back there? Possibly. Trying to see who else was out there. I did think about getting Jaden Price at one point of time, but I did not pull that trigger. So since I did not, I just had to lace up my boots and just keep it moving. So let's look at my wide receiver room. I think my wide receiver room is still young as well. I think, and y'all let me know. Let me know down in the comments, like if this room is still young, if it's going to be that next step. I ended up doing Emeka Egbuka for my ace because I think he's going to take that next step in Tampa. Then I ended up coming back with Ladd. There are so I think a lot of people think Ladd did have a down year last year, but we also got to look to see what was there. I do think this year he should have a bounce back year, which I think a lot of people are high on the Los Angeles Chargers. So am I. Um, and then you just gotta have that gut feeling that he's gonna be able to take that next step. Um, I think Ladd fits the philosophy that we're trying to do right now. He's a younger wide receiver, and he could bring that win now mode to the team. Also, we got Bettern and Sutton. So looking at my wide receiver room, I could say that it's kind of balanced, but it's also a little shaky as well, because there's no for sure things. There's no for sure type of guys there. And we did say if we did not go this selection, could I, instead of going Ladd, I could, instead of going Ladd and having Jayden Daniels as my quarterback, let's do that. At the end of me doing this breakdown, I'm going to switch two positions, and you tell me which team would you rather have at the helm, and then we'll go from there, and we'll continue to talk about it and then debate. So when I'm looking at the teams, seeing how it's broken down, we talked about the wide receiver room, my tight end room. I love it. I'll give it a chef's kiss, only because I think and I believe what I got there is value, and that's the one thing that we're teaching, that what can you get in the later rounds that is of that value. And to be honest with you, if this was like a real draft and Travis Kelce and Tyler Ferguson were all on the board still here whenever I took Chris Bradswell, I probably could have got Chris Bradswell in the 15th round, to be honest with you. Like straight up, I probably could have got him. And then if that was the case, then I probably could went with Travis Kelce. Is Travis Kelce a shell of himself? Just weigh it out. Like if it's a tight end premium, Travis Kelce or Chris Bradswell, or Travis Kelce or Antonio Williams. Like, what are you selecting right there? Who are you selecting? What's going to happen? But I do like how my tight end room was set up. I got Eli Stowers, which I mentioned before, the rookie, who is going to he doesn't need to play right now. He's probably going to be on the taxi squad, and he's probably going to collect those reps. And then some of the other guys, sorry about that. That is who going to have to step up is you got Mark Andrews and you got Dalton Kincaid. So we know that Isaiah Likely has been shipped out. So it is all Mark Andrews show. You don't have to worry about Isaiah Likely stepping into that. And then just loving every bit of it. The one thing that I want y'all to realize is that whenever I was looking at this and building this team, the one lesson that I will say that I was able to build is I don't know if you noticed, I did not chase the age. I did not draft the youngest team, but I drafted young QBs, young running backs, and young wide receivers, while sprinkling in some productive veterans. That's the one thing that I wanted you to see as I was building this team. One of the other, in lesson number 2, that I wanted to let you know and teach you that win now mode does not mean draft old. Does not mean draft old players. This is one of the biggest dynasty misconceptions out there. A lot of managers here win now mode and draft 30-year-old running backs, aging wide receivers, declining assets. We did not. We thought about the future, and what we also thought about the now, and how the team was going to produce. And then one of the third and final lessons that we ended up doing, we drafted assets first. So, and what we mean by drafted assets first, think about looking at our rosters. That's exactly what happened whenever we took Jayden Daniels. So maybe Jayden Daniels is not our future quarterback. But if our team is not doing good this year, we have that asset in Jayden Daniels who we could end up shipping off for a guy that ends up needing a quarterback or who is a diehard Jayden Daniels fan. We also had, Ladd McConkey, which is a good asset to have on the back end. And then just thinking about that as like the team is being built. That's how we ended up building the team. Those are 3 lessons that we ended up showing and teaching. Lesson number 1 again was notice I did not chase age. Lesson number 2, win now. Win now does not mean draft old. And number 3, we drafted assets first. We drafted assets first, but also doing a win now mode and draft prospect. But the one thing I will say is that based off how the draft was and how it was formed, y'all let us know down up in the comments. Like, would you have taken this draft or would you have not? And like what we said at the very end, we're going to give y'all the scenario. We're going to bring it back up. We're going to bring the scenario back up again. We're going to bring it up. All right. It's not letting me go. Oh, let me change it back. Where is it? All right. We back at it. Sorry about that. So, let's look at it. So the last question of the podcast is that, and I want you to tell us and let us know what you would have done. Last question. So instead of drafting Jayden Daniels in the first round, we would have went Amon-Ra St. Brown or Jamar Chase, one of them two. Based off this year and me thinking about this year and how the schedule is being played out, I would have probably went with Jamar Chase at 1.06. And then I would have came back around at 1.06 and So who would you have wanted to have? Jamar Chase and Trevor Lawrence? Or would you rather have Jayden Daniels and then Emeka Egbuka? Let us know down up in the comments. Who would you rather have? Jayden Daniels and Emeka Egbuka, or Trevor Lawrence and then Jamar Chase? Tell me, who would you have rather have in the long run? And with that being said, we would like to thank everybody for listening to the podcast. We had a great opportunity. We showed you how you could draft a young win now team at 1.06. A lot of people do not like drafting in the middle rounds. I don't care where we draft. Do you have better value in other sections? Yes. But also this draft showed you as well is that a lot of people did not trade. If we was doing a startup draft, a lot of people always say you get rid of your first. Me personally, whenever we're doing a startup draft, I try to get rid of my first and second round pick. But I do it strategically to get the laters in the meat and potatoes right in this 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th round. That's my meat and then potatoes round that if we would do a startup draft. But with all that being said, in the good words of the co-host, we would like to thank everybody for coming out. We greatly appreciate you tuning in and listening. Please do not forget to drop a like and then let's hit the comments up. Just so you know, we will be doing another mock draft next week. We're going to give the co-host his time to shine. We're going to let him speak during the episode. We're going to let him tell us about his philosophy and how he's going to be drafting. We're going to let him know that in advance, so it is no, what's happening, what's not. And then we have to thank and give another shout out for Ronnie for joining, even though he did not join. Well, he joined, but then it was went to auto. So something must have happened. I'm hoping everything is okay with Ronnie. Shout out to Ronnie. Also, the Tampa Bay 12 Champ Bay. Thank you for also showing up and drafting. We do love how your team ended up being drafting, and we just thank you. If y'all ever wanted to pull up and join a mock draft, we probably will be doing like a couple more, just giving different philosophies and different startups. And if you want us to do a different startup lineup, let us know down up in the comments what you would want to see next week or the week after. If we don't see it this week, then we will try to do it the week after. show a different philosophy, say, hey, I'm drafting from the 1.09 spot. Can you help me out and help me build a team from the 1.09 that I'm trying to win now, and what philosophy can I end up doing? And we are big on philosophy and strategy here, but like what we say, we got to thank everybody for coming out. I know I've already said this once, and what the coach said, spread love, not hate, and we are out. And thank y'all for showing up and showing out, and thank you for joining.